Hey there, Virgo. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 13th. You start with this moth spirit says, appreciate where you are in your journey instead of wishing it were easier or different. You have this fleeting flare path card. It says something in your life will be brief, not meant to stay in your life forever. I think you're definitely ready for a big change here, Virgo, and probably in your finances. We have all this energy in Aries, which is going to be your 8th house. Even if you're not in 8th house Aries, Virgo, doesn't matter. It's going to affect you all basically the same. And so I feel you're ready for like something new or different financially. And, something I think people forget about Aries energy is that Aries is the first house in, just when we're talking about the chart, and Aries is like a sign of renewal as well, which is, again, something I think people forget about that energy. So, and the reason I'm saying that is because it is popping into my head that, some of you, it's like you're renewing your finances or you're kind of like breathing new life into your financial life. The 8th house is other people's money, but it can be like how you get money from other people or how you make money. And so, that I think that's going to be a focus. You have the World, the Four of Cups, and the Eight of Wands in your current general energies. The World, of course, can represent an accomplishment or an achievement coming in for you at this time. I think that you have accomplished a lot, whether you realize it or not, over the past few years, Virgo. And now you're just kind of like ready to get out into the world. Wouldn't surprise me if you were creating a new world for yourself. It is kind of about your own little world. I wouldn't be surprised if Virgos were creating, almost like their own universe. It's kind of like, it's almost like you're building a brand, but that doesn't mean you're like literally building a brand. Some of you could be, like if you are, I think it's a great time for you to do that for sure. But we're speaking more figuratively. It's like kind of like you're building a lifestyle for yourself is what I get off of this World card. And, of course, when you do that, then you do kind of enter into a different world because, maybe you're surrounding yourself with different people, or maybe you're standing out in the world. So you're attracting different types of people and different experiences. And, again, all of this, I think it's like long overdue for Virgo. And, I think it's going to be a good thing for sure. You have these Four Cups. Yeah, a lot of people have been getting the Four Cups, which is kind of interesting this week. He's failed something at least 3 times before, and he's being asked to try again. Again, we just talked about renewal. Obviously, if you're trying something again, that is kind of like a renewal because you are renewing something, you're rebirthing something, or you could be doing that. He needs to realize that he's being, he's learned, again, from these 3 cups. He just has to apply what he learned to this 1 cup, and he will be successful. So I think it's time for you to like apply what you have been learning to what you are doing, because that will probably lead to a lot of success. I do feel like some of you could be having moments where it's like, I don't know how to say this, but like, have you ever been like overwhelmed by your past mistakes? Is kind of what I feel. It's like, it's like sometimes I think we can think about a mistake we made in the past and it really hits us, like it hits different. And so I'm not saying this to scare you or anything, Virgo, but I do feel you could be having like one of those moments this week where you really think about something that you messed up on. But again, I think your perspective on it is what's important. It's like, if you're beating yourself up about it, obviously that would be a bad thing. I think if you're looking at it, whatever the mistake was, and you're saying like, oh, okay, like this is what I learned from it, then obviously that would be a good thing. And so I would make sure, it's a really bad time to beat yourself up for sure. We have Uranus leaving Taurus at the end of the month on the 25th. There's something about it, Taurus is value, and, Taurus is like very nurturing. Taurus, they need to nurture themselves more. And so if we're beating ourselves up, then we're not nurturing ourselves. And I don't know, it's just been like one of those messages that's been popping up that, people need to really not beat themselves up for it. But, the other side of that is to correct it as well. You have the Eight of Wands, which is like quick success. Again, all the Aries energy is going to feel like a rocket ship. It's going to be like blasting off, very quick energy. So I think everybody's going to start moving quickly this week. And specifically this week because we have the new moon in Aries on the 17th as well. So I think that is kind of what lights the fuse, if you will, of all the Aries energy. And we have like 6 planets, the moon. I think total we have like 10 heavenly bodies in Aries this month, which is crazy. If you're counting the asteroids as well. So again, it's like, don't quote me on that, but it's like something like 10. I think 6, planets that we recognize the moon, and then, 3 others or 4 others. But anyway, again, we're definitely like blasting off into outer space at this time, and we have a great opportunity to do that with the Aries energy. So I would take advantage of it. I think speaking up is important as well with the Eight of Wands. Sometimes, like, we have to speak up for our needs with people. We have to claim things as well, and we definitely see that with the Temperance card. I like the Temperance card, but he has this crown behind him. And sometimes I literally think we need to like tell the universe what we want and claim it. With the World, you have the Six of Wands, which is great. Definitely standing out for sure, Virgo, especially if you're like reinventing yourself, like we said at the beginning. It's like you are kind of branding yourself or something is what I feel. But obviously it's a good thing because you could obviously be standing out for it. Six of Wands is a card of standing out, getting attention, having a victory or a big win. So love it. With the Four of Cups, you have the Ten of Wands, which you have twice in this reading. I think it's really important this year that Earth signs do not create more jobs for themselves. Again, that doesn't mean you can't work, right? But if what I mean is like no creating something that is an overly complicated solution to whatever you're trying to do, right? You shouldn't be creating something that's going to take 40 hours, right? The way I see the astrology right now is I think would be better for people to invest their time into things that could require a lot of upfront work, but that would pay for years to come, right? The example I always give is like Saturn. We have Saturn in Aries, and Saturn in Aries loves like picking something long term that you work on that could pay you for years. So like writing a book, for example, would be, if you want to do that, right? It would be a great time to do that because it takes a lot of upfront work, but it could potentially support you for a very long time, right? So it doesn't have to be a book. It could be whatever, right? But I would be thinking more like long term. I would be thinking like, how can I create things that last a long time? It's like, for example, on this channel, this year I started doing collectives just as an experiment and just to see how it goes. But, the collectives have a much longer lifespan. I actually started doing collectives years ago. I stopped. And some of those collectives still get views to this day, right? My weekly readings only last for like a week, right? So it's not like I'm going to stop doing the weeklies or anything. I don't plan to anytime soon. But the collectives, they have a little bit more life in them. And so I myself have been focusing on this, Virgo, because it's really important. I think that, doing this is just going to make your life easier. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, conviction, more confident. Of course, obviously, tons of Aries energy. You have the Emperor here. Everybody's had the Emperor this week, which cracks me up, and it makes perfect sense that everybody would have the Emperor. But Seven of Wands is conviction. It's like knowing that that something is going to work for you. I really do believe that the more you know that something is going to work, like really believing it deep down inside, the better things can work for you in life in general. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this release card and this courage card. Yes. If there is something you need to release, I think I said this in your April bonus reading that I just did for you, that, because of that eclipse we had in your sign back in March, eclipse energy can last for like 6 months. So if I were Virgo, I would be picking like one thing to completely bury in my life that you don't want anymore, right? And so if you have something that is dead, done, over with, I would just bury it. Obviously with all the Aries energy, it's a time for courage and being courageous. You also have the Justice card, the Temperance card, and the Moon. Justice makes a lot of sense. Again, I always pay attention to opposite signs whenever we have like either a major transit or every planet and its mother being in Aries, right? Like we do have right now. So the opposite of Aries is Libra, and we should probably be paying attention to this right here, which is balance. The Aries energy, I think it's going to make us want to work. It's going to make us want to, take off after things, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I would also make sure that you're balancing the other things in your life, like fun, health, happiness, sleep, stuff like that, right? And as long as you're taking care of yourself, you'll be balanced and you'll be perfectly fine. The other thing I would say is that we have Uranus going to Gemini on the 25th. The thing about Uranus and Gemini is we need to be able to look at both sides of everything that possibly exists, which if you look at the world, most people don't do that. They're like one side or the other. And it's not like saying you have to agree with the other side at all. but it's about becoming just becoming a master of perspective, basically. And I think it would benefit everyone to do that. Again, it doesn't say you have to agree with anything. It just says understanding something else could make you more successful because it makes you more well-rounded. And, Uranus and Gemini, I believe, is going to make people more more well-rounded, being able to see all these different perspectives. I've been challenging myself to look at things I don't agree with. Like, even I catch myself doing this where, it's like, even like on YouTube, like there are certain creators that talk about YouTube that I don't agree with, their approach to YouTube. But I've been watching them more recently because I think that just like understanding it could be very helpful. And because Uranus and Gemini, it's like the two sides. We have to be able to fill in gaps, but also we can identify gaps with Uranus and Gemini. So like learning from someone, for example, that you don't agree with, like in business or work or something, you might discover something that they're not doing. But by learning from them, you figure that out, right? And so that's what I would be doing with the Justice card for sure. You have the Temperance card. Yeah, I think it's not time to be patient for you anymore, Virgo. I think it's time to go claim that crown. I think you just need to claim something. There's a book I can't remember the name of. I'm not going to remember it. Sorry. But it's by Mitch Horowitz. And if you know Mitch, he talks a lot about manifestation and things like that. But I'm pretty sure he has a book about where he talks about all these stories from like the Bible and, other things as well, where people wanted something and they basically like screamed out to the universe that they wanted it. Like they really claimed it and they demanded it, right? And it's almost like that's what this card is asking you to do. It's like saying, don't just like, piddle around, kind of dancing around something. Like if you want something, I think you need to like really claim it. Next, you have the Moon card. I actually feel pretty good about the moon for you, Virgo. I kind of feel like you're getting out of a moon period. I feel like you have been in a moon period for a long time. A moon period can be a period of fears, fantasies, illusions, not seeing things clearly. It's part of the Fool's journey. He's hoping to accomplish something. He's hoping to get to these mountains. But again, he's not sure. When he starts here, he's not sure if he's going to get there or not. The whole point of the moon is like one foot in front of the other. It's that period of time where you don't know what you're doing when you start something new, and you're just hoping to find the accomplishment, right, or to reach the accomplishment. And so I feel a lot of you could be kind of like getting over or through a moon period. With the Justice card, you have the Fool. Again, Fool energy makes sense to me right now as well because Aries energy is starting energy. And so, sure, I think everybody is about to, if you haven't already, I think everybody's about to start something new. And again, it doesn't have to be work or business related. It could be in your health. It could be in how your business affects your health. It could be about how you interact with your children. I mean, literally anything is what you could be starting. Probably something you've been thinking about. I also think it makes sense that, the Fool, he has these tattered sleeves here, and the Fool goes from the Fool to the World, then he starts all over again. You have the World, it's like you're ending a cycle, you're about to start another one. But the tattered sleeves tell him that he's done it before, so he's about to go on this long-ass journey, but he's done it before, so it should be easier this time around. And, again, if you're renewing something, like I said at the beginning of the reading, then I feel it's going to be a lot easier this time. With the Temperance card, you have the Queen of Cups. You do have divine counterparts here, so it is a great time for love, as I've been saying. And so if you want a connection, could absolutely be a new connection that's coming in for you. It could be a water sign, could be any sign. You also have Earth right here as well. I think Earth does really well with Virgo. I think water does as well. Could be any sign, general reading. With the Moon, you have the Two of Swords. Yes, there are not two sides to every issue. There's a third side to everything with Uranus and Gemini. I've been talking about this for years, that Uranus and Gemini would be bringing in third place solutions. Everybody thinks this or that, but it's like, what if there's another thing? What if there's another way that we could do everything that we're doing that no one has thought of before? We're going to see a shit ton of that during Uranus and Gemini because that's the whole point, I believe, of Uranus and Gemini is like, everybody thinks this or that, but there's probably, something no one's thought of that's better. And that's really what we're all kind of like discovering, probably in every area of our life, because Uranus is freedom. And so to be truly free, obviously, we're going to have to find multiple solutions to things. And again, these aren't even necessarily bad solutions. It's like you could be making a lot of money, for example, right now, and you could discover a solution that makes you even more. So it's like it's not necessarily about saying that you have to fix just bad things. You could be improving things that are already going well in your life as well. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this card. It says conclusions are within reach. Obviously, World to the Fool, 10 of Wands as well. We'll talk about it. Conclusions are within reach. You have this card. It says nothing will come of the situation. Yeah, I do think with Aries energy, we should be careful worrying about things, especially with Neptune there. We could start worrying about something that just isn't going to happen. So, let those fears go. You have the King of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, and the Emperor. King of Pentacles is wealth and wealth building. Again, with all this 8th house energy, you're going to be thinking a lot about like what wealth is for you. You could be also thinking about how other people are involved in you creating wealth or money in the first place, and you could be thinking about your relationships that affect those things in your life. And again, the King of Pentacles is about stability, so you're probably just creating more stability around your finances. Definitely with Uranus still in Taurus until the 25th. This is Taurus, obviously, and Uranus is all about freedom. So probably thinking a lot about how you can be more financially free or what financial freedom means to you in the first place. For some people, maybe financial freedom means no money, right? Like maybe it means that you enter into some sort of system where you don't need it, right? So I don't know, it's different for everybody. And again, I think a lot of you could be thinking about that. For you, Virgo, we've been talking a lot about your skills for years. He has these grapes on his cloak. So a lot of you could probably are thinking about how your skills, like the skills that you have, could be monetized or could make you more money. Or maybe you're deciding like, I'm not getting paid enough for this skill. Or maybe you're also deciding like, hey, I just don't want to get paid for this skill. I want to just do it because I like doing it, right? And like all that stuff is probably floating around in your head. You have the Ten of Wands. So again, you have this conclusions are within reach card. He is very close to his conclusion, which is his home in the background here. And he's carrying those burdens, but again, he's almost done with his journey. So a lot of you could be about to release some burdens in your life, which of course would be great. You have the Emperor. Like I said, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to get this week because of all the Aries energy. So the Emperor wants us to be bold, assertive, confident. He wants us to take advantage and take control of opportunities as they come into our lives as well. So if there are any opportunities coming your way, I would just take them. With the King of Pentacles, you have the Tower here. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I think there will be global Tower moments this week. I think this week. I'm recording this on the 7th. This will be published on the 8th. So whatever this week is, the week of the 6th or whatever, I think there probably will be a global Tower moment this week, probably one next week. A lot of people have had the Tower already this week. But also, again, makes perfect sense with all this 8th house energy, because it's other people's money. And so, again, I think a lot of you are probably trying to set yourself free from, something that involves other people and your money. And so this probably isn't a bad thing. It's not like a bad tower. With the Ten of Wands, you have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, like, again, no creating jobs for yourself. I think you need to eliminate hard things, from your life as well. I think that, I'm a big believer that we overcomplicate things and it becomes a comfort zone because we think it's creating safety. We think that if we have in business or work, that if we work harder, that we're creating safety because no one else works harder. And there is like a little bit of truth to that. But at the same time, I think when we work too hard, we're telling the universe, I have to work hard for this money. And so we probably should release those types of comfort zones where we're relying on complication, right? We're entering into a time of authenticity, truth, and just quality, right? And so I don't think we have to focus on this anymore. I think earth signs are too used to Pluto and Capricorn, even though it's in Aquarius right now. I think, 20 years in Capricorn, basically 19 years, whatever. You got too used to having to do too much. But now it would be better for you to focus on like less, but quality, right? And that's what I would do there. With the Emperor, you have the Three of Cups. Yeah, Three of Cups is like a celebration. Some of you could be celebrating a victory or like a harvest. These three ladies are celebrating this harvest that's going on around them. And so if you have been putting in the work, you could, be getting to the end of that long journey with the Ten of Wands. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Descendant card. It says invitation, and this Conjunction card, it says alliance on it. Yeah, again, surrounding, you could be forming an alliance like Survivor, with people, with that Three of Cups. But again, Three of Cups wants you to focus on quality connections. So if you're like teaming up with other people, not even just this week, but for like the next several years, I would make sure that they're either at the same level or they're going to be lifting you up in some way, like taking you to the next level. You have the King of Cups, the Page of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles. Again, could be a new person if you're looking for love. King of Cups would be like an emotionally stable person. The King of Cups could also be you exploring your emotions. He has explored his emotions to a very deep level, and because he's done that, he knows how he feels about things, and he's sitting in these choppy waters, but he is perfectly fine. So because he has explored his emotions, he doesn't really worry. And we were talking about worry a minute ago, so I think, kind of like exploring how you feel about things and processing it and then letting it go would be helpful. You have the Page of Pentacles, could be a new person for sure. So if you're attracting love, yes, could be a new person. Page of Pentacles can also be like news or communication that you've been waiting for. So, and I do feel that on this card, like if you're waiting to hear from a person or, get feedback from a person, you could finally be getting that news or that communication that you've been waiting for. You have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles like work hard, play hard, which yes, we talked about this at the beginning with the Justice card. I think like balancing your energy, making sure you're feeding both sides of yourself is going to be important. The other thing I would say here, Virgo, is, sometimes I feel that he has these waves behind him, and they start very small, and they get bigger as they go across the card. So sometimes I think the Two of Pentacles can kind of be something that's trying to get your attention in life, and it's becoming more and more apparent to you. Like if maybe you have an idea like 6 months ago, and maybe you've been thinking about it more and more and more. This card, I think, tries to draw our attention sometimes, especially in the good stuff, towards our attention. So I would definitely be, if you have like something like that you can't stop thinking about, it literally could be your intuition telling you like, yes, go do this thing. With the King of Cups, you have the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is about doing things in a different way. We've been talking about this with Uranus and Gemini. I think the Seven of Swords is like Uranus and Gemini. He's going to war, but in a different way. He's stealing their swords instead of going to war. So, basically it says we need to come up with other solutions to everything that we're doing, or we need to change the approach, which we talked a lot about as well, and, do it in a more tactical way. And that's what I would do on with anything that you're working on. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this because, again, if you've been waiting for approval on something, obviously, like, while you're waiting, it can feel like you're stuck. And it's like you're getting unstuck by, getting news or approval or information. The Eight of Swords is only seeing one way of doing things when there are many. So we have to be open to all solutions or different ways of doing things with this card to find success. With the Two of Pentacles, you have the Strength card. Yeah, I feel like you're ready for something. The Strength card says you've been building strength for a long period of time. The Strength card, the lion is like your inner voice or your inner critic or your inner demons. So the Strength card can be about taming your inner voice so that you can be more successful. You have this Younger Woman card. It says dealings or relationships with a younger woman. You have this Teapot. It says deep friendship with someone of the same sex. So with the Three of Cups, again, I always look at the Three of Cups as like a friend or people that are lifting you up. And again, you could be forming much stronger connections with people that are actually important to your future, which is good. You have this Happiness card. Yeah, I mean, we're in a time where I think we have to do more of what makes us happy. We have to bring more happiness down to earth. Again, obviously the energy is going the other direction. So we have to be the ones to correct it. Again, Pluto and Aquarius, it's pretty simple. I think that we have to be the ones to change the world. It's not going to be like the government or someone like that or the aliens or whatever. We have to do it. So I'm a big fan of bringing more happiness in. You have this leg, it says stepping into new experiences. Yeah, with the world to the full, that's like a new adventure. And so, learning new things, doing things you've never done before, exploring, adventuring, all that is going to be very important. You have this money path card. It says the path with money is waiting for you to find it. Like, duh, here, Virgo. I think with all that energy in your 8th house, you could be discovering like a new path, a new start, or renewing something. It doesn't even have to be new for you, Virgo. I think I've said this to you in the past. It's like, I think you're one of the few signs that doesn't have to completely start over. I think you just have to renew or reinvent or change, something. You have this wind chimes card. It says peace and harmony. Again, opposite of Aries is Libra. Like I've said this to everyone, that we need to bring more peace and harmony into the world. But again, we have to be the ones to do it. So, Pluto in Aquarius wants us to be a living example. That's like part of it. And so we have to be an example to the world. And, that's what I would be focusing on with this card. But this looks pretty good, Virgo. I like it. So thank you for being here. Make sure to leave a comment, and definitely enjoy your week.